Well, Lori and I would like to just thank you all so much for coming. It's really gratifying to have so many people come and celebrate this with us. I have to say I'm especially amazed that my wife's 9 siblings, most of them from Pennsylvania, all came. At any rate, thank you. I know it takes some effort to do that, and we appreciate having you here. We've got a little feedback. At any rate, I had kind of a difficult time deciding what I should talk about tonight, and it's not often that a father gets to stand up in front of his whole family and say exactly what's on his mind and have everybody pay attention. In fact, I've been a father for 27 years, and I don't remember it ever happening before. So I'd just like to talk briefly about something that's very near and dear to me. It's not World War II, but it's what it has been like to be Amanda's father. When Amanda was very small, about 3 years old, I think, she came up to me holding her doll by one foot and asked, "Dad, is it okay if I pretend that her dress is pink?" This question revealed 2 very important things about Amanda. The first was that she was going to be a very easy child to raise. And the second was that colors were very important to her. Even when she was really small, she felt that, colors should complement each other. They should match. Maybe it was the fact that she felt they were so important that made her feel like she had to ask permission before changing them, even if it was only in her imagination. At any rate, that's always been an important theme in Amanda's life. She also loved words and books quite a bit. When she was about 4, she went through a phase where she made a lot of little books of her own. She would illustrate them and bind them together with Scotch tape. And one of these books was filled with pictures of a bearded man who bore a striking resemblance to me, who was wearing a different outfit on each page, each one uglier than the next. I remember one page that featured the man in a green plaid shirt with red diagonally striped pants. The title of the book was "The Man Who Couldn't Match." The idea that someone could be so clueless about coordinating colors was so foreign to her that she felt it was worth writing a book about. Well, as Amanda grew up and went through elementary and high school, there was much more to her life than just colors and clothing. There were violin lessons and playing in the orchestra and in the band. There were dance lessons and track team. There were graduation ceremonies, and there was a prom. Through all of it, there were none of those moments that parents fear the most. No late-night calls from the police. No wild parties in our home when we weren't there that we know about so far. no academic problems of any kind, except that her teachers wanted her to talk more in class. It was all A's and a collection of really nice kids as her friends. There was one day, though, after Amanda had a job and was living on her own, when she called home and said those words that no modern father ever wants to hear. She said, "Dad, I met a guy on the internet." By the way, that was Match.com, which seems like a reasonable place for her to go to look, you know, but fortunately for me, those words were followed quickly by the words, "He's a special ed teacher." Now, I know something about special ed teachers. My wife, Lori, and my daughter, Katie, are both special ed teachers, so I know what kind of person it takes to do that job. These are the people who have the skill and the desire to teach, and the patience and the compassion to understand the kids that have the roughest start in life. The kids who flunked out or dropped out or were thrown out when I was a kid. You have to be a special kind of person to be a special ed teacher. So Joe had scored a bunch of points with me before I ever even met him. Although I have to admit that as a homeowner, as well as a father, I had often fantasized about having one of my girls date a guy who really loved to swing a hammer and hang drywall and install an extra electrical circuit. A guy who would be eager to gain my approval by working on my house. As I have gotten to know Joe, I have learned that he is not that guy. But that's okay because he's something better. You only need to listen to him talk about the kids he teaches for a brief time before you understand that he's someone who takes the time to think about what's the right thing to do for others, a considerate thing to do. Everything I know about him makes me feel very comfortable trusting him with my very precious grandchildren. Daughter! Well, long before Joe and Amanda were probably thinking seriously about getting married, I had a very strong intuition one day that they were right for each other. We were all walking outside and they were about 100 feet in front of me. I could hear that they were talking, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And then Amanda started to laugh at something Joe had said. And they looked at each other, still walking briskly side by side, walking as equals, smiling at one another. And even though my mind had been somewhere else completely, I suddenly felt my eyes fill with tears, and I stopped walking and just watched them. Because somehow I knew that Amanda had found the right guy for her. I can't really explain it, except to say that it was a father's intuition. So, to Amanda, I say, I may be the man who couldn't match, but I'm also a man who can tell a good match when I see one. This match couldn't be any better, even if I pretended that your dress was pink.
Thank you, Lee. Ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy your dinner.